McMaster reloaded his peacekeeper and slapped the barrel shut. With a steely look in his eyes, he moved toward the mine entrance. The rage that was building inside him could not be contained. Dakota tried to dissuade him, but he knew him well enough to know that once his mind was set, nothing could be done to stop him. As McMaster charged past Dakota, he said in a stern tone, "Now it's payback time."
Good evening, and welcome to Episode 7 of my campaign playthrough of Shadows of Brimstone. Before we begin, I need to correct a mistake that I made in the previous video. While the heroes were battling the void spiders in the canyons, I rolled only one die during one of the spiders' attacks against Dakota. It should have been 2 dice, as the spiders have a combat value of 2. To rectify this, I'm going to use the most restrictive solution against the posse and assume that the die wounded the target. Therefore, I'm going to assign 2 wounds to Dakota. That brings him from 0 wounds to 2 wounds. I forgot to implement the special rules for the canyons as well. This would have raised the defense of the void spiders by 1 during the first round of the ambush. To offset this, the heroes should have rolled a d6 at the start of the ambush and received a grit on a roll of 4+. So in this case, I'm going to just let this stand as a wash, and I'll try to be more careful in the future. In the last episode, we ended with Will McMaster running back into the mines through the new entrance that Dakota had found while they were in the canyons. I'm trying to operate the heroes in a way that's consistent with their character profiles that I created at the start of the game. This led me to the decision to have Will rush back into the mine seeking revenge for the death of his friend, Emerson Wheeler. However, the posse is probably best served by escaping the mine, given the realities that exist. First, they have no revive tokens remaining. Second, there's 5 growing dread cards in the stack, along with a particularly nasty darkness card called Temptations of Evil. In addition, now third, Will is at 6 wounds, so I'm more than likely going to be escaping the mine at this point. I haven't even found 1 clue yet out of the 2 that I need to get to the final room. So I think they're probably best served by escaping. But Will McMaster rushed back into the mines, so we have to, at the minimum, we have to resolve that exploration token, and then he can escape, I guess, at some point in the future there. But for right now, this is what we have starting this session. Okay, we left off last time with the models activating. Will McMaster ran back into the mines, and therefore now we are in the exploration phase, so we're going to reveal that exploration token and see what he finds in the rail tunnel. Okay, he has a growing dread counter. There's 2 exits, and we did find a clue, and there is an encounter. So we will resolve all of that right now. Okay, I'll be adding an extra growing dread card. That would make it to be 6 growing dread cards. So we'll add that to the stack. We have 2 exits, and we will put exits at those locations. 1 here and 1 here. And then finally, we have an encounter, so we'll be drawing an encounter card. All right, we're going to draw our encounter card, and that is revealed to be Sign of the Dark Omen, Encounter Active Omen. An icy wind blows through the chamber, flickering the candles set out on makeshift altars along the walls. Black feathers and skulls adorned with beads and painted markings, are piled around the room. Dark tidings of things to come. All right, it's a Spirit 5+ test. And the only person in the room is Will McMaster, so he will be making the Spirit 5+ test. Will McMaster has a Spirit of 1, and he also has a personal journal which gives him a +1 spirit. So he'll be rolling 2d6 for this encounter. All right, we'll be rolling 2d6 and seeing if Will can pass this test. He rolled snake eyes, so he did not pass that. He's going to use one of his grit, and he will re-roll that. Okay, here's the re-roll. And he passed that. He had a 2 and a 5, and it reads, if passed, gain 25 XP, and you may use 1 grit to cancel a growing dread card from the top of the stack, or as it is played this turn. All right. The Sign of the Dark Omen encounter card allowed us to spend 1 grit to cancel a growing dread card. That would bring us from 6 growing dread cards back down to 5. But at this point, the posse is going to escape the mine. There's just too much headwaters, I think, for them to continue on this. And we'll go through that procedure next. All right, we're back on the campaign map. The posse has fled the mine, and their position is at Mount Laterra right now. I felt that was the best choice given the circumstances. This is a campaign game. This could be, I could play this for months or years, and I don't want to be giving the posses unnecessary injuries or madness effects on a losing effort. So I felt that was our best bet. The basic mission that they played was for a few Darkstone more. This is going to go back into the bin. The basic missions are returned to the draw pile for the rumor tokens. Any specialized missions, those are one time only. So when those are played, or if they're removed, they're gone for the rest of the campaign. The posse now, since they have fled, we have to implement the failure conditions of that mission. And in this case, it reads, if the heroes fail the mission, the darkness escapes the mines and wreaks havoc on the countryside and the neighboring towns. In this case, in my campaign rules, the neighboring towns is referring to the nearest town location to where that adventure occurred. In this case, it's going to be the town of Seraphin. When the heroes travel to a frontier town before the next adventure, D3 random buildings there will have been destroyed by the escaping darkness. So that will occur at Seraphin. I'm going to place a D3 dice at Seraphin to remind me that when they enter that town, there will be 3 buildings, D3 buildings destroyed there. And finally, what we need to do is the posse can, since they escaped the mine, they will be able to roll a D6 and heal that much wound or sanity damage following the adventure. So we'll start with Will McMaster. He currently has 6 wounds, no sanity damage, and he will recover a D6. He rolled a 5, so that will bring his wound status from 6 down to 1. And now Dakota has 2 wounds, and he will be able to recover all of them. So he is without any wounds or sanity damage. All right, looking at the campaign map, we find out that we have 3 missions available to the posse. The Hellfire Succubi mission, Deadly Dreams, at the Devil's Fingers. The Caverns of Cinder mission, Cracks in Reality, at Terek's Peak. And the Frozen Expedition from the City of the Ancients set at South Sierra Magellan. So those would be the only 3 missions that are available to the posse at this time. We're going to undergo our overland travel cycle now, and the posse will have to decide on their next course of action. One other thing is the status of Emerson Wheeler's possessions. Those were lost with him when he perished in the mine. However, he did have a horse and 1 ration with him. That would have been at the same location where the other posse members had kept their horses and equipment. So they're going to gain a horse and 1 travel ration from Emerson Wheeler. All right, our first step in the overland travel cycle will be to select a travel path. I think we're going to head for Seraphin. That is only 1 travel cycle away. It is a trail with difficult terrain, but it is only one travel cycle away, and we will have to undergo a D3. Number of buildings will be destroyed there following our failed mission at Mount Laterra. So I think that's what we're going to do. So we'll place the posse travel marker halfway between Mount Laterra and Seraphin, and then our next step is to select a guide. I'm going to get out the travel board and highlight that for you. All right, our next step in the travel cycle is we have to select a guide. I'm going to select Will McMaster as the guide for this travel cycle, and Dakota will follow behind. The next step is to select our travel pace. We'll proceed at a normal pace, and the next step following that is consume supplies. With a normal pace, we'll be using 2 supplies. I'll take 1 from Dakota and 1 from Will McMaster. That exhausts their rations that they have available to them. And now our next step is to make our overland travel roll. The trail that we had selected was orange, and that is a trail with difficult terrain. So we'll be using that column, and we'll be rolling a D8 and applying any modifiers that would apply. In this case, where all members are mounted, we will receive a +1 to that roll. So we're going to be rolling a D8, and this will tell us how many hazards we have to encounter. Okay, here's our D8 roll. This will be D8 +1. Okay, we rolled a 5, and that's modified to a 6. So we have a 6 with on the orange column. That's 1. So we'll have to undergo 1 travel hazard. We'll look that up and make our roll and look that up in the book. All right, we'll be rolling a D36 and consulting the expanded travel hazard chart. I'll be rolling a red and a green die. The red will be 10s, green will be 1s. This is our D36 roll. We rolled a 54, so we'll turn to 54 in the book and see what we have. We have Army Convoy. Traveling the roads, the heroes come upon a massive U.S. Army convoy heading toward the same town to reinforce the outpost there. When the heroes reach town, any rolls on the campsite hazard chart or the town event chart are +1 to the roll. All right, so that is going to occur in the town of Seraphin. And the next step is heal and use abilities. All right, the only wounded character we have is Will McMaster, and that would allow him to roll a D3. To roll a die on an even result. He can heal 1 wound. And we roll, and he has an even, so that will make him fully healed. That's healing on the road. All right, so he's fully healed, and the posse arrives in the rail town of Seraphin. We'll bring that up and build the town. The posse has arrived at the rail town of Seraphin. We have to construct the town. First step is we're going to lay out our daily event deck. We'll give that a cut. And then we will start to, first thing we have to do is make a roll. We'll roll a D20 and find out the town size. The town will either be small, medium, or large. A small town is on a roll of 1 to 10. Medium town on 11 to 16. And a large town on a 17 to 20. Okay, here's the roll. We rolled a 17. That is a large town. All right. So we're going to go about to populating that large town. All right, Seraphin is a large rail town, so we will populate that by drawing and filling 8 of the town slots. So we're going to give our town location pile a shuffle. And we'll start populating that. Our first location is Smuggler's Den. Second is an Indian trading post. Third is General Store. Fourth is a gambling hall. The fifth is a blacksmith. The sixth is a mutant quarter. The 7th is a frontier outpost. And the final one is a street market. Now, as we fled the mine the last time, one of the failure conditions was that D3 of these buildings are going to be destroyed, as the evil had left the mine and traveled to the nearest town and wreaked havoc. So we're going to roll a D3 and find out how many buildings are going to be destroyed, and then we will randomly determine those. Okay, 3 buildings are going to be destroyed. So we will be making a D8 roll, and we'll be rolling to determine which locations are out of commission. All right, the first roll is a 7. The frontier outpost was destroyed. Next one is a 1. That's the smuggler's den. And the final location is a 7 that's already been destroyed. One more. A 6. That'll be the mutant quarter. All right, so those buildings have been destroyed because of our failure at in the last adventure. All right, now we've determined that this is a rail town, so we'll be using the rail town specialty. We won't be rolling for a specialty, as it is already a special location based on the campaign map. And we'll read the rail town special conditions. It's rail town, town, train, transit are the keywords. Flavor text is: many towns on the frontier are connected by a network of rail lines, with trains bringing fresh supplies, fresh faces, and news from back east on a daily basis. All right, the first special rule is fresh supplies. At the start of every day in town, each hero may draw a gear card that is a special deal they find offered by a street vendor. This card may be purchased by that hero for its listed value plus $100. Treat no listed value as 0. If not purchased, discard that gear card. All right, well, we'll draw a gear card for each of our heroes and find out what their special deals are. This gear card will be for Will McMaster. And we find a shotgun. Gear, gun, shotgun, range of 5, has 1 shot, and it uses D8 to hit and for damage. 6, 7, or 8 count as critical hits. It's a 2-handed weapon, uses up 1 anvil of space, and it costs $300. So the purchase price on that for Will would be $400. The next gear card, this one will be for Dakota, and his special deal is an eagle feather, upgrade tribal, attached to any item, +1 agility, +2 health, tribal, traveler, or frontier only, and it costs a listed price of $250. That would be $350 for Dakota. So that's probably going to be a little more than they have funds for, but interesting offers nonetheless. Okay, the next special rule in a rail town is hustle and bustle. Draw 2 daily event cards each day in town. All right, that's going to be interesting. And the last one is rail travel. When finished in town, you may take a train to a different area. If rolling randomly for your next mission, you may roll twice and choose which mission to play. Also, each hero may start the next adventure fully healed in both health and sanity. All right, I've changed that for our campaign rules, and what we offer is rail travel on the campaign map, which allows the posse to travel from any town that is a rail town to any other rail town on the map. And the fee on that is $40 per person. A rail town also offers a couple special extra options, and those are listed as follows. Send a telegraph. Limit once per hero per town stay. Cost $50. You may send a telegraph to a friend or relative back east, telling them of your adventures. Make a luck 4+ test. If passed, you receive a reply from before your town stay is over. Gain +1 sanity. All right, that's a definite option. The last option is rob the train. Now this is for outlaw only heroes. None of our 2 posse members have an outlaw designation, so we won't bother reading that. But those are the extra options that are available in a rail town. All right, our next step during the town stay is to draw daily events. In this case, with the hustle and bustle special rule in the rail town, we have to draw 2 daily event cards. So we will do that right now. Our first draw is Old Prospector, town daily event. Sitting in a rocking chair on the walkway outside the Rusty Pun watering hole, an old prospector tells tales of his adventures on the frontier to any who will listen. All heroes may make a Lore 5+ test. For each 5+ rolled, gain 5 XP. All right, well, there's no reason not to do that. We'll make the test starting with Will McMaster. Will has a lore value of 2, and his personal journal adds +1 to that, so he has a total of 3. He'll be rolling 3d6, and for every 5 or greater, he's going to gain 5 XP. All right, here's the roll. And he got 1 success, so that will earn him 5 XP. All right, now Dakota has a lore of 3, and so he'll also be rolling 3 dice. And he'll be getting 5 XP for rolls 5 or greater. He rolled 2 successes, so that'll earn him 10 XP. All right, now we'll be drawing our second daily event. And that card is Rolling Tumbleweed, town daily event. Just another day on the frontier of the Wild West. Tumbleweed, wide open skies as far as the eye can see. Every hero may heal up to 2 sanity damage. If in a specialty town, roll once on the daily events chart for that type of town. All right, well, we are in a specialty town. It's a rail town, so we'll be making a roll on the daily events chart for that specialty town. It's a D6 roll, and then we'll find out what happens. So we'll do that right now. Here's our D6 roll. We rolled a 2. That's listed as news travels fast. A telegraph comes through the line from a neighboring town. They are under attack, and the demonic swarm is headed your way. Move the darkness marker 1 space forward on the town event track. All right, that will move it from 1 to 2, and that will make our chances of receiving a town event at the end of the day much greater. All right, our next step in the town stay is we have to determine our lodging. We can either stay at the campsite or in the hotel. Now, as from when we were on the road during our overland movement, an army convoy was headed towards this town, and that would provide us with a +1 roll to campsite hazard chart rolls and town event chart rolls. So that would give us some advantage of staying at the campsite as opposed to a normal stay there. But I think the posse is going to stay at the hotel. Both members will stay at the hotel, and we will deduct $10 from each of them for the stay. All right, that will leave Will McMaster with $120 and Dakota with $55. Each of them have 1 grit. The next step in the town stay is the heroes get to visit a town location. We need to buy supplies for our next overland movement cycle, so Will McMaster has the most funds available. He'll take a trip to the general store where he can purchase those and maybe some other things. And Dakota will make a visit to the Indian trading post. And there's a reason for his visit, which I'll go over during his resolution. All right, we will start by resolving Will McMaster's visit to the general store. I'll put up the general store chart on the screen. And we have to begin each town location visit by rolling 2d6 and consulting the location event chart for that location. So Will McMaster will roll 2d6, and we'll find out what happens at the general store. Okay, he rolled a 6. That is, flies are a-buzzin' in the streets are filth. Business as usual, no event. All right, so Will McMaster has $120 available to him. He is now the price of rations are going to be $10 each. We have 2 posse members now following the death of our NPC, and we'll be able to purchase those for $10 each. Will is able to carry up to 6, and so can Dakota. Will purchase 6 of those for $60. All right, Will has purchased 6 of those travel rations. We'll put those on his card, and we've deducted $60 from his total. That leaves him with a total of $60. All right, now we'll see if there's anything else he might want to purchase at the general store. And definitely bandages would be in order. He can purchase a bandage token for $50, and that's just what he's going to do. The heroes are definitely lacking in the ability to heal while in the mines, so that would definitely help. All right, Will has purchased a bandage token. We'll put that into his side bag along with his exotic herbs and dynamite, and that will cost him $50. And that will end Will's stay at the general store. We'll move on to Dakota at the Indian Trading Post. One thing I failed to do at the conclusion of the adventure at Mount Laterra was to roll for corruption for Dakota's Darkstone that he's carrying. He has 2 Darkstone, and following the completion of an adventure, each hero must roll a d6 for every Darkstone they're carrying, including items with a Darkstone icon. For every roll of a 1, 2, or 3, the hero takes a corruption hit from the dark influence of the Darkstone, and he may use willpower to save to prevent those corruption hits as normal. So Dakota has 2 Darkstone, so he's going to need to roll 2d6, and on a rolls of 1, 2, or 3, he'll have a corruption hit, which he can use his willpower to save against. So here's that roll. He rolled a 1 and a 3, so he'll be having to do 2 saves for his willpower. Dakota's willpower is at 4+, so he'll be able to roll 2d6, and for each 4+, he can that will deny him from taking 1 corruption point. Okay, he rolled a 6 and a 1, so the 6 will prevent that corruption point from getting through, but however, the 1 will add a corruption point to Dakota. So that's his first corruption point, and we'll add that to his card. When he receives 5 corruption hits, then he would take a mutation. All right. Now that we've got that cleared up, our next step is to make our roll for his visit at the Indian Trading Post. We'll be rolling 2d6 and consulting that chart. I'll bring that up on the screen. And here's his Indian Trading Post roll. He rolled a 10. Trade opportunities. The local tribe is gearing up for a major hunt, and they are looking for extra gear and Darkstone. Heroes at the Indian Trading Post may sell gear and artifact cards for an extra d6 times $25, and may also sell Darkstone here today for $100 per shard. That's absolutely fantastic. And that's exactly what Dakota is going to do. He is going to sell 2 Darkstone for $200. So those 2 are going to go back into the supply, and Dakota is going to gain $200 that he can use to purchase other things with. That's fantastic. The next item is they also had the mount that was left over from Emerson Wheeler, and Dakota is going to sell that. Those can be sold at a cost of $50 at any location. So Dakota will sell that, and he'll gain an additional $50 for that. All right, now Dakota can go about and see if there are items that he wishes to purchase at the trading post. All right, Dakota is going to purchase a throwing hatchet for $100. and that is a side bag token that will be added to his whiskey that he has currently. That costs $100, and that is gains him a throwing hatchet. Throwing hatchet has the following abilities. Discard to throw a free attack. Range, strength, +3. Shots are 1. It's +2 damage. Although this is a ranged attack, use your melee to hit for the roll. All right, a free attack could be very useful for him. We'll add that to his total. And also there was a reason why I chose Indian Trading Post for Dakota. There's a free ability that is offered there. It's limited once per visit. It's called Vision Quest. And it reads as follows. Sitting in a smoke-filled tent, the medicine man leads you through a vision quest with your spirit guide. If you do not know your spirit guide yet, roll on the chart below. Each hero will only ever have one spirit guide. It will always be the same once you have determined what it is. Grit may not be used to re-roll your spirit guide. They choose you. And then the text also reads, you must pass a Spirit 5+ test to gain 25 XP and the Vision Quest bonus listed on your spirit guide to use once during your next adventure. All right, Dakota is going to determine his spirit guide. We roll a d6 and consult the table. I'll bring that chart up on the screen and we'll find out what his spirit guide is. Dakota's spirit guide, he rolls a 6. He has the spirit guide as a snake. Gain 1 additional starting upgrade for your hero class for 1 turn. Do not gain or change starting gear from it. All right, so that's very interesting. Dakota will now do a Spirit 5+ test to see if he gains 25 XP and the use of the Spirit Guide during his next adventure. Dakota's Spirit is 3, and he also has a locket which adds 1 to that for +1. That'll be a total of 4. So he'll be rolling 4d6, and we'll see if he can gain the use of his Spirit Guide. Okay, so we'll roll 4d6. And he's looking for a 5 or better. And he got that. He's easily passed that. He has 2 successes. So Dakota will gain 25 XP and the use of his Snake Spirit Guide. Fantastic. Before we begin with continue on with the town stay, I neglected to utilize Will McMaster's personal journal. That reads gain 50 XP at the end of every adventure. So I'm going to award Will McMaster 50 XP for that personal journal. All right. All right, the posse now gets to draw from the rumor cup to find out if there's any additional missions that are available to them or any special town events. So we'll make our rumor cup draw. I'll close my eyes and draw. Okay, we ended up with no useful leads, so that means that the posse gets nothing out of it for this turn. It goes back into the draw pile. And now our final step in the town stay is we have to do our end of day roll. Now the end of day roll it's currently days since last event is at 2, so we'll be rolling a d6 on a roll of 2 or less. There will be in a town event. Now we also had while we were doing our Overland adventure, there was the Army Convoy event that says that when the heroes reach town event chart rolls are +1 to the roll. So if we do get one, we'll be adding 1 to that result. For right now, we're rolling a d6, and on a 2 or less, there will be a town event. And we rolled a 1, so there will be a town event. I'll get that chart out and we'll find out what happened. All right, I'll put the town event chart up on the screen. We're going to be rolling a 2d6 and we'll be adding 1 to that result for the Army Convoy. And we'll find out what event happened. So 2d6 plus 1. Okay, we rolled a 5 that's modified to a 6. And that reads Spreading Fear. Fear spreads through the town as the days grow dark and the demonic attacks more frequent. One random town location closes up shop and may not be visited for the rest of the town stay. We have to roll a D8 to determine that. And the campsite is dissipated and may no longer be visited. So we'll put a wound marker on the campsite to denote that that is no longer available. And then we're going to roll a D8 and find out which town location has closed up shop and left town. Okay, we rolled a 7. That one is already gone, so we'll have to re-roll that. We rolled a 4. That's the gambling hall. So the gambling hall has closed its doors. All right, and the final step is the posse will have to decide if they're going to remain in town for another day or if they're going to move on. I'm going to consult the campaign map and see what my options are. Well, consulting the campaign map, I believe the posse is going to head out of town and they're going to make their way towards the town of Fringe. That's a rail town located to the east of Seraphin. So I'll bring out the campaign map and show you what my plans are. We're back at the campaign map. The posse is currently in the town of Seraphin, and I've decided to leave Seraphin. There's too much damage there to the businesses, and the town locations there's 4 of them that are out of commission there. So I'm going to travel east to the rail town of Fringe, and I'm hoping that from there we'll be able to have some more options available to the posse. We'll be able to travel along a gray path, which is an established, well-traveled trail, so it'll be fairly safe for the posse. And we'll see what opportunities will present themselves in Fringe. So I think I'll end the video here. Thank you very much for joining me, and I hope you'll return for episode 8 as the posse travels east towards the rail town of Fringe. Thanks very much for watching, and have a good evening. Good night.